Hi guys, I hope you're all well. I know it's been a while, I've had some personal stuff going on. I've been swamped with work, swamped with dancing, had loads of workshops and stuff on, so I have just been like crazy with my schedule. I'm going to try and sort it out a wee bit more now though. Obviously it's the summer holidays so the kids aren't at school, so just loads of people are wanting privates during the day and it's been a nightmare, but no more excuses. I'm going to try and get back on my game and do at least like one video a week. I really need to like pick a day and just start some sort of schedule, but it is something obviously that I'm working on. So speaking of dancing, when we started back classes, a few of my kids had like showpieces that we put together in the space of a couple of weeks, just sort of to start a wee bit of like a show reel for them. And actually 2 of my kids won a scholarship for some master classes from their solo dances, so big shout out to Andrew and Lucy, love you all. Obviously I love all my kids anyway, but I was just so proud. I was like my wins. So basically I'm going to start a wee bit of a series here. And basically I want to sort of talk about my choreography process and how I come up with ideas, how I come up with songs and the choreography, sort of the concept behind pieces. And then for each video, I'll insert the clip of the choreography at the end. Sorry, there's a flyer or something there. So today the choreography that I want to talk about was a piece called Dear Anxiety. So, starting off a bit dark here, but quite a lot of pieces of mine, to be fair, are a wee bit deep. The kids that I picked to do this piece, Lucy and Midden, were absolute stars when it came to this piece. They knew exactly what the assignment was and they gave me it. These girls, I swear to God, are the most dedicated 2 girls I have met in my life, and I could not be prouder of them. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're perfect, but I just love their wee bones. So Dear Anxiety is a spoken word piece. I quite like doing stuff like that sometimes. I just think it's a wee bit different instead of just the saddest song that's in the top 40 now. I get sick of hearing it after like the 5th class and I'm just like, get this away. And I feel like when you do spoken word pieces, like you don't get sick of the music as quickly either. If you're a dancer, you know, once you've done a dance for so long, you just get to the point where you hate the music because you've heard it that much, and then even when you're not in class, you listen to it in the house practicing and it just gets ingrained in your brain and you want to scream every time you hear it after that. So I really enjoyed working on this piece mainly for that. It was something a wee bit different and I did think it was a wee bit dark, which is why I chose to do it with my oldest girls. But they really understood what they were doing with the piece. They got into the feeling of it, the emotion. They weren't like flinching at certain parts of, I was going to say the lyrics, but at certain sentences that were maybe a wee bit deeper. And they just done a really good job at it. The reason that I chose this, which we're getting a bit personal here, I have struggled with anxiety near enough my whole life. I mean, even as a kid, there was times where I just thought that I was really like overly emotional or that I felt things more than the other kids and I didn't really understand why. I maybe just thought that I was too soft or I didn't have a backbone or whatever it was. But obviously now, as an adult looking back, like I had anxiety, I was having panic attacks, and it was rough. And I know not just me and not just my kids, I know there's like a million people out there who have struggled with anxiety, and this piece to me was just about like opening up the subject for discussion, normalising the fact that it is something that a lot of people deal with and not keeping it as this taboo subject that nobody wants to discuss. Obviously it is one of the things that is a wee bit difficult to talk about at the time, but as soon as you've got it out there, it's out there and you feel so much easier actually talking about your feelings and your emotions and whatever else. And I think it is something that more people need to obviously open up about. Like a lot of people I know that do suffer with it, like when they do bring it up as well, they almost make it like a joke, like so they don't feel awkward and they'll just be like, just me having an anxiety attack, and it's like, I know you're actually being serious, so don't try and cover it up as if you're just like playing it off. Like, if anybody ever needs to talk about anything, ever like drop me a message and I'm there, girl, cause I've been there. We've been there a lot. And I'm hoping they don't mind me saying this, but another reason that I'd sort of picked Mirren and Lucy for the part themselves is I know that to whatever extent it is something that the girls have both struggled with themselves, and I just knew that they'd get in that mind frame really easily, and that both of them are quite open about it, to be fair, and that they wouldn't mind sort of sharing their experience on stage, or as it may have been, a big field of grass at the back of a primary school. It was a bit of a struggle, to be fair. Obviously this was during like the whole lockdown period and we couldn't really get like a studio or a stage or whatever to film it on, but it was something that we really wanted to do together. It was a piece that like the three of us were really into, and we were like, do you know what, it is a wee bit more difficult obviously on grass, especially because it was lyrical, so there was like turns on it and jumps and there was tumbling. It was a wee bit more harder to dance on, but we were like, do you know what, we're just going to push through it. They were total pros. And we made what I think is a really just beautiful piece. There are moments where it's like everything's so nice and delicate, and then just moments of utter chaos, and that is really what I wanted to achieve with this piece. They just, honestly, they're wee godsends, man. I couldn't actually imagine my life without them, like, wee besties. So basically throughout the piece my sort of concept was that Mirren is somebody who is struggling with anxiety. I know obviously you might not necessarily know which is which, but once you watch it it'll make sense. And so a lot of her movement is really like panicky and frantic and quite uncontained. It's not all technically precise and precisioned and this arm goes here. It's a lot of just feeling emotions and artistry. And although she's doing for pretty much the most part the same choreography, Lucy, I wanted to sort of take role of being the anxiety, so everything is more, it's quite precise, it's quite controlled and controlling in a way. So you see sort of between the two of them there is a contrast in how they performed the piece, which was what we were going for like the whole time. And honestly they just done an absolutely lovely job, and I could not be prouder of my girls. I think I've pretty much spoken about everything to do with it now. If not, I'll insert a clip later. But without a further ado, here is Dear Anxiety.
I wake up, puddle of sweat. I have nightmares and I get back into bed. It's like these voices just keep playing on repeat in the back of my head, and I can't get them to leave me alone. 30 years old, but still hates being alone when I'm home, because that's when the voices get the loudest. Opening up like this is a moment far from my proudest, but these demons keep pressing me, I swear they're the foulest. But I've grown comfortable with their presence, my conscience is calloused. My dreams are their playground, my thoughts are their palace. I try to evict them, and they return with more. Anxiety isn't an item you can return at the store. I was 10 the first time I had a panic attack. Like a punch to the stomach, there's no planning for that. And I didn't tell anyone because I was too scared about what they'd say. And I know deep down there was nothing they could do to take it away. It was my fight to fight and my battle to face. I remember that house I grew up in and how those demons would rattle that place. I'd lay awake at night just staring at the ceiling. I've spent my whole life trying to run from that feeling of being lonely, that feeling of being lost, that feeling of being sick when the lights turn off, that feeling of being depressed, that feeling of being anxious, that feeling of screaming to God, begging him to take this, only to get silence in return. I'd lay in that bed crying and I'd toss and I'd turn, and I turn and I toss to this day. The doctors gave me medication, the pastor said pray. I tried both and this anxiety still hasn't gone away. So forgive me if I fantasized about being gone today.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave any comments in the feel free to leave any comments in the comment section down below. Let me know if you like these type of videos. Let me know if you like the piece. If you've got any sort of feedback, positive or negative, as long as it's constructive, let me know down in the comments below. And big up the girls because they've done an amazing job, do you know what I mean? Thanks guys so much for watching. Remember, drop the video a like, subscribe if you've not already, and hit that bell icon so you get notifications every time I post. Thanks lovelies.